Today we're going to go over Franz Kafka and the works of Franz Kafka and hopefully inspire you to pick up these books. And today is almost this is a different style of video I'm going to do, and this is something I'm going to do more often. And basically what I want to start doing is going through my favorite authors, going through their overall ideas, their overall style, and why I like them so much, really just in an effort to inspire you to pick up these books. And today we talk about Kafka. Kafka is a very interesting case. I'll briefly go over his history. So he was really not appreciated when he was alive. He basically died not in debt, but like he wasn't super rich, he wasn't super wealthy, he wasn't respected as a great author or anything. And actually upon his death, he asked the guy that was like overseeing his will to burn all of his works. And instead of doing that, he published all of them. And thankfully he did that because pretty soon after Kafka's death, he became the most sought after, the most famous writer in his time. And I mean, you read his works and you can see why. And there's almost a term, and it's called Kafka-esque, and it really just means like a just bizarre scenario that's almost so horrific that like you have to keep reading. And it's very interesting and it's very unique, and that's why I like Kafka so much, because I mean, it's existentialist, it's nihilist, it's absurdist in a way, but at the same time it's also just his story. And to be able to blend such an ideology and philosophy into a narrative and do it in a way that like you don't have to see the values, you don't have to see the symbolism, you can just read it as a story. Like it's that double-edged sword is just so beautiful. And I really just want to bring you these ideas because I don't think Kafka gets the respect he deserves. And truly he is one of my favorite authors. Truly he is a very, very interesting individual. And real quick, I'll just go through some of the works that I've read from him. This one I actually just finished a few days ago. It's The Trial. What this is about is a man who basically he gets arrested, and there's this ongoing pending charge against him. And no matter where he goes to, no matter what government official he goes to, no matter what office, I mean, he visits the priests, the lawyers, the courts, the court ushers, everyone under the sun that has any indication that they're involved with the court, he goes to, and he can never find any information. He can never find any sort of outlet to get a fair trial, to get a fair hearing of the case. And it's really more so about the government bureaucracy. And it reminds me a lot of 1984 with like the senseless charges, the senseless things, the senseless crimes. And I think he does a better job because it's more symbolic, and it's really more a compelling story because you're on the edge of your seat. You're always thinking like, what is going to happen next? I have no idea. And it's all these weird scenarios and all these weird things, and it takes all these twists and turns. And unfortunately he never really finished the book, but I think it actually makes it better because the ending is so abrupt and the ending really comes out of nowhere that it really just goes to show you that like at any time you could just be taken out by the court, that by any time the bureaucracy could just go, oh, we don't like this guy, get rid of him. Like that's truly how it ends. And I think it actually makes the book better. I mean, you can observe the historical context and say like, I wish he finished it because it would have been a better ending. But again, I think it was a masterful work, and we'll get into the next one that I also just read. This is The Metamorphosis by Kafka. Obviously it's by Kafka, but it's about this traveling salesman, and one day he wakes up and he's a part beetle, part human hybrid. And I mean, the themes inside of it are really about like, does your family still love you if you're no longer bringing any sort of financial means to them? Like if you become a burden to them, like how their life changes and how they start to view you, and like is the reason why we love each other for what we can do for each other or who we are. And it's like, it's interesting to see how he hasn't changed as a person. He hasn't changed as anything else aside from his physical capabilities, and his entire world shifts and his entire family starts to view him as a monster. And it's really an interesting commentary, and it's also just a horrific tale. And I mean, that's a lot of the reason I like it. And the last work that I actually just picked up today, I've read a few stories in here. I'll go through one real quick, but this is the complete short stories of Kafka. Some of these are very long, some of them are very short. I don't know how many are in here, but I'm really excited to start reading this very soon. I'll probably pick this up in the next few days, but I realized when I was younger, I actually read a Kafka story. It's called The Hunger Artist. It's a very interesting story, and I mean, really quickly, it's about a man who used to draw huge crowds for locking himself in a cage and starving himself and seeing how long he could go without eating. And slowly over time, people stopped, enjoying this. Slowly over time, people stopped liking this. And it's really his coming to grips with, he's like at the peak of his art. He's at the peak of his skill, and he's really just not getting the recognition that he feels like he deserved. And it's really reflective of Kafka, because Kafka died when he was like 41 from tuberculosis, and ironically his tuberculosis was so bad that he couldn't eat anything. Like his throat was so swollen that he couldn't eat, and because of this he starved to death. And it's really interesting. I think this was one of the last stories he wrote as well, but it's a very interesting tale, and if you look in the context of in terms of the writer, I think it makes it even more haunting. I think it makes it even more meaningful and more purposeful. But yeah, I love Kafka. I truly do. I will link all the books in the description, but Kafka is someone that you should really try to explore, because his works aren't super complex in that, like, you can get through them very quickly, but they are extremely deep, and they are extremely, I mean, you'll remember them simply for the fact that they're so haunting. And I don't know how else to explain Kafka. Like, I've read thousands of books at this point, and nobody quite sticks out like Kafka does to me. Like, his style is so unique. The things that he writes is just so him that I just can't urge you to pick it up enough if you like any of the other books I suggested. So yeah, love all you guys. Thank you guys so much. Feel free to join my Discord. Feel free to join my school community. All the links will be down below. Link all the books as well. And yeah, let me know if you like these kind of videos. I'm probably going to do one on Robert Greene at some point tonight, so that one will be in the storage. I'm definitely going to do one on Jung. I'm definitely going to do one on some other authors that I really, really like. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see, eventually what this series develops into, because I think this could be a whole new avenue for me to explore. Like, I'm constantly finding new ways to start talking about my favorite artists, and it's just so cool. Like, I've probably made like hundreds of videos on Robert Greene at this point, and it's just like, I can't get enough of it. So yeah, well, you guys, thank you guys so much. Support has been crazy. I can't thank each and every one of you. Peace out.